Rama asked, if Brahman does not undergo any modification at all, how does this world appearance, which is and is not real, arise in it? This is what I've dubbed the Rama question. It's basically the question that Rama keeps coming back to. If Brahman is one, how come there's such diversity? If Brahman does not undergo any change, how does this world appearance, which seems so real and which isn't, arise in it? How does that arise in Brahman? And this is really only a problem from a philosophical point of view. If you're interested in philosophizing, you can't really reconcile the concepts of one and many. And the only way of answering this question, we can keep coming back to this question, the only way of answering it is to realize the truth for ourselves. So by coming back to this question, we can take it not as an excuse for further philosophizing, but as an opportunity to realize how things are. One of the notions we might form of consciousness from studying the Yoga Vasistha is that it's like a big tranquil ocean. It's not. Consciousness is a torrent. It's a torrent of creativity that's going on all the time. Or a whirlpool, it's like a whirlpool which we get sucked into. Or it's like a tornado. A tornado is maybe a better way of looking at it. It's like a whirlpool in that we get sucked into it. We lose our identity as consciousness and take on the identity of what we get sucked into. But a tornado has a still center. And the spiritual practice, if you like, is about finding that still center. It's like the whirling dervish. The whirling dervish spins, but doesn't get dizzy. And the dervish doesn't get dizzy because the dervish's attention is centered on itself. When you try and focus on all the stuff that's going around, you get dizzy. It's something you can try. Try spinning on one foot and stay focused on your inner self rather than on what's going on round about you. You keep your eyes open, but you're not letting the attention go outwards. You keep the attention still, and you don't get dizzy. So spiritual practice is about not getting dizzy. But to get back to Rama's question, it's a bit like the relationship between the dream and the dreamer. What's the difference between the two? Is the dreamer changing as a result of his or her dreams? Are you a different person before your dream to the person you are when you wake up? Well, you could probably argue either way, but you could certainly take the case that you go to sleep, you have your dreams, and you're up the next day, you're the same person. You haven't changed as a result of your dreams, even though these dreams might have been quite emotional and traumatic. Why do we have dreams at all? That question's remained unanswered. Animals have dreams. Maybe even insects have dreams. I suspect that insects have dreams. I've watched a fly and it's not going anywhere. It seems to be sleeping. And it's performing involuntary actions. Do flies dream? Why not? But why so? But why do they dream? Why do they dream? So this is like asking the question, why is consciousness doing what it's doing? Let's see what Vasistha replied. True modification, O Ram, is a transformation of a substance into another, like the curdling of milk, in which case the curd cannot once again return to its milk state. Such is not the case with Brahman, which was unmodified before the world appearance, and which regains its unmodified state after the world appearance. Both in the beginning and in the end, it is unmodified homogeneous consciousness. The momentary and apparent modification in this is but a mild disturbance of consciousness, not a modification at all. There's a bit of entanglement going on here as we try to pin consciousness down. Whenever you try to define consciousness or talk about it, you're going to get into some very slippery territory. What you have essentially is a lot of stuff going on. And there's also consciousness that stuff is going on. Now without that consciousness there would be nothing going on. Nothing going on whatsoever. We can hypothesize a world without us. But that's a hypothesis. Without consciousness there is oblivion. If there's no consciousness there is just total oblivion. With consciousness the world appearance comes into being. The world appearance or the stream of consciousness becomes apparent. But there's not two separate things there, because there's only what is going on. There's not awareness and what's going on. There's only what's going on. And yet without awareness, there's oblivion, nothing going on. So this is what we're getting caught up in here, this distinction between awareness and awareness of what? Awareness is unmodified. Awareness can always be turned to in its unmodified state. But when awareness identified with its objects, there's dizziness. We get caught up in the world appearance. But we can always turn to the unmodified. In that Brahman there is neither a subject nor an object of consciousness. Whatever a thing is in the beginning and in the end, that alone it is. It appears to be something else in the middle. That's the dizziness. That's the world appearance. That appearance is regarded as unreal. Hence the self is the self in the beginning and in the end, and therefore in the middle too. It never undergoes any transformation or modification. It's absolute. And yet there's a constant stream, a constant torrent of experiencing going on, an infinite cascading variety.